If this reached you today, it wasn't by accident. There are moments when your heart notices a truth long before your mind can name it. That quiet pressure, that deep knowing that won't let you rest. It isn't here to scare you. It's here because staying silent is starting to hurt more than any honest sentence ever could. You've felt the confusion hard, days where everything goes cold for no clear reason. Then, suddenly, a tiny sign appears. A memory, a small action, a spark that proves the fire never fully died. That back and forth isn't in your head. It's a reflection of a struggle happening on the other side of the connection. A fight between pride and feeling, between the fear of being open and the need to be close, between letting the bond fade or finally facing what's true. Stay with me, because what comes next explains the strange behavior in a simple way. Source life sees what people hide, the late-night longing when nobody is watching, the fear they won't admit, the messages they practice but never send, the choices they delay because courage is expensive, because saying yes to real commitment means saying yes to real change. And change is always a little terrifying. Real love asks you to loosen control. It asks you to stop performing like you don't care. It asks you to step onto a road you can't fully predict. No more masks, no more, "I'm fine." Maybe you've wondered if you imagined the whole thing, if you expected too much from something stuck, if this bond is real or just a fantasy made from loneliness. That doubt is brutal because it drains you. It makes your heart tired from giving more, feeling more, waiting more. But listen calmly. When something is born from a deep root, it doesn't die from time or distance. It transforms, it stretches, it gets tested. And if someone runs from what's real, life has a way of bringing them back to face that run. Source. Something is starting to crack inside the person who walked away. Not a bad break, a necessary one. A breaking of the roles they've been wearing. Because there comes a point where pretending the bond doesn't matter becomes impossible. The emptiness of being gone becomes heavier than the fear of a promise. And right there, unexpected actions begin. Not because everything is magically fixed, but because the soul can't keep hiding what's screaming in the quiet. This isn't telling you to chase. Life isn't asking you to push, plead, or exhaust yourself trying to win someone. It's asking you to watch and trust. And more than anything, not to betray your gut out of fear. Because choices made from inner truth bring clear answers. Choices made from panic freeze everything. Now there are two paths. One path keeps doubting, shrinking the signs, and backing away to stay safe. It feels logical, but it slowly walks away from what could have grown. The other path is standing tall without begging, without forcing meetings, without closing your heart either. Just self-respect, just faith, and letting them walk their own road. Source. If you don't choose that steady path, you repeat the same loop, same story, same hollow spots, same unanswered questions. Life repeats lessons not to punish you, but to teach you, because you have huge love inside you, and also a habit of tolerating too much. You are not alone in this. You are not making it up. Quiet shifts have already started, inner decisions that don't show in the physical world yet, but you can feel them. Life isn't rushing, but it isn't stopping either. And when the right moment lands, things line up in a way logic can't control. This person feels the loss even when they act fine. They sense the risk even while pretending they're safe. Some bonds aren't easily replaced. When one tries to escape, life keeps placing the same name, the same memory, the same feeling in their path until they can't ignore it. Pay attention to your body and your emotions, not because you need results today, but because peace comes from knowing what's forming isn't a quick impulse. It's a truth that has been growing quietly for a long time. In the next part, you'll see why pulling away often happens right when the bond feels deepest. Source. To understand the sudden distance, you have to look beneath the surface. Older depth psychology explains it like this: strong connections act like mirrors. A mirror doesn't judge, it simply reflects. In this bond, the other person doesn't only see the love you offer, they also see their own wounds reflected back, their fears, their shame, the parts they've avoided. The rule is simple. What someone refuses to face inside tends to appear outside as fate. So when they stand in front of someone who offers real acceptance, it can feel scary to someone who hasn't learned self-acceptance. That's where the hidden side comes in, the parts of the self that were buried to avoid rejection, old insecurities, fear of not being enough, fear of being left. When love touches those dark corners, the ego tries to protect itself, so they don't run from you. They run from what your love forces them to feel about themselves. Your light makes the shadows visible. One day they want closeness, the next day they fear being truly seen. So they pull away. It looks personal, but it's a confession of their fear, not a verdict on your worth. Source. Here's the mistake people make, trying to fix it by giving more proof, more explaining, more chasing. But in a mirror bond, the more you chase, the bigger the pressure feels to the one who's scared. Your closeness becomes, without meaning to, a demand that they face something they don't feel ready to face. So, the push-pull continues. And strangely, the running can be proof the bond matters. If it meant nothing, there'd be no need to build walls. People build fortresses around what can hurt them, around what they secretly value. Distance becomes their temporary shelter to regain control after their heart started feeling too much. Pride becomes a guard dog. Admitting "I need you" can feel like the ego is dying, and the ego fights to stay alive. That's why you see mixed actions. Sudden coldness, long silence, not always true indifference, often a mask for time, but time runs out. Eventually, the emptiness weighs more than the fear. And that's when the unexpected happens. Not because everything is solved, but because the inner mismatch becomes unbearable. So don't break the mirror and don't try to polish it for them. Let it do its work while you stay centered. Keep watching, because the next move is where everything shifts. Source. The way to act isn't chasing, it's energy, the law of empty space. Picture your connection like a rope between two people. When one side pulls hard, the other side naturally pulls back to keep balance. As long as you chase, something in them keeps running. Up to now, your focus may have been locked on them. Texts, checking, overthinking, waiting. Without realizing it, you became their safety net. They could keep distance without feeling the full cost because your attention softened the loneliness. But what happens when that energy stops? Not as a trick, not to punish, but as self-love. When you release the rope, their push has nothing to fight. They lose balance. At first, they may feel relief. Then it fades. The relief turns into unease, then into worry. The silence becomes loud, and nature hates a vacuum. It tries to fill it. With no chase to defend against, their mind turns inward. Curiosity wakes up. Why did it stop? Did I lose them for real? The doubt moves to their side. This doesn't always happen overnight, but it happens. And when they send a quick signal, it may be a control check, not a true return. Don't grab the crumbs. Stay steady. Because when the change is real, the truth hits harder and the bridge they burned starts calling their name. Source. Then comes the avoidance stage. When the empty space grows, they may try to numb it with noise, work, friends, new people, shallow fun. It's the ego's last attempt to prove it's in control, to prove it can live without the bond, to prove leaving was right. But if the connection is real, distractions stop working. Life lets them try other paths, not to hurt anyone, but to reveal the difference between shallow and soul deep. They may sit across from someone perfect on paper and still feel bored in a way they can't explain. Conversations feel thin, laughs feel forced. They have to over-explain themselves. That silent understanding, the one look that says everything, is missing. What was meant to be fun becomes quiet torture. Comparing starts automatically, and it isn't fair to anyone. Every flaw in the new experience makes the old bond look deeper. Their old excuses start sounding fake. I needed freedom. I needed space. But the real world teaches them that easy can be empty, and freedom can feel like a desert. Distance doesn't always erase memory. Sometimes it sharpens it. So let your value be felt, not argued. If you've made it this far, don't click away, because the moment they realize what they're losing is where the story turns. Source. If this reached you today, it wasn't random. There are certain seasons where the heart catches a truth before the mind can explain it. A steady pressure, a quiet knowing that won't leave you alone. That feeling has a reason, and it has a purpose tied to this bond and to a choice that can't be delayed forever. This is not a threat. It's not meant to scare you. It's the kind of truth that needs air because silence is starting to hurt more than any honest words ever could. You've felt the shift. Days where everything turns cold with no clear cause. Then moments arrive that flip the switch back on. A memory, a small action, a sign that wakes up the fire that never fully went out. And if you've been asking yourself, am I imagining this? Stay with me, because you're about to understand why this back and forth is happening. Don't skip the next part. Source. That emotional push and pull isn't an accident. It's a reflection of a battle happening inside the other person, a fight between pride and feeling, between wanting closeness and fearing it, between opening up and staying protected. There is a tension between letting the connection die or having the nerve to face what's real. And life sees what the human eye misses. It sees the moments when they want you most, when no one is around to watch. It sees the fear they hide. It sees the sentences they practice but never send. It sees the delays, the stalling, the later, because saying yes to real commitment means saying yes to a life change. And change is scary. Real love is scary because it demands you release control. It demands you lower the walls built over years. It demands you step onto a road where you can't pretend you don't care. So if their behavior feels confusing, it may not be confusion at all. It may be protection. Wait, this next piece will make the pattern click. Source. Maybe you've questioned yourself late at night. Is this connection even real? Am I expecting too much? Is this just a dream I'm holding on to because I don't want to be alone? That doubt hurts because it drains your heart. You feel like you're giving more, feeling more, waiting more, and trying to stay patient through silence that feels endless. But listen with a calm mind. When a bond comes from something deep, it doesn't die from time or distance. It changes shape. It gets tested. It stretches to the edge. But it doesn't simply disappear. And when someone tries to run from what's real, life has a way of turning their escape into a meeting with themselves. Something is starting to crack in the one who pulled away. Not a cruel break, a necessary one. A breaking of masks. Because pretending the bond doesn't matter becomes exhausting. The emptiness becomes heavier than the fear of a promise. And that's when unexpected things begin. Keep watching. Source. This message is not telling you to chase. Life is not asking you to beg, push, or wear yourself down trying to convince someone to choose you. Instead, it asks for something harder: trust, watching, staying rooted, and most of all, not betraying your own gut just because you fear losing them, because choices made from inner truth bring clear answers. Choices made from panic usually freeze everything. Right now there are two paths. One path says, doubt yourself, minimize the signs, shut down early, walk away before you get hurt again. That path looks safe and logical, but it slowly moves you away from what could have grown. The other path says, stand tall without chasing, without forcing talks, without demanding proof, but also without shutting your heart. It's self-respect. It's faith. It's letting them face their own inner road while you keep your dignity intact. The result of the steady path is clarity. The result of the fear path is the same painful loop on repeat. And you already know how that loop ends. Source life repeats lessons, not to be cruel, but to teach. Because inside you there is a huge ability to love and also a habit of tolerating too much when you shouldn't. So hear this clearly. You are not alone in this. You are not making it up. Quiet movements have already started. Inner choices are forming that may not be visible yet, but they can be felt. Life isn't rushing, but it doesn't stop either. And when the timing is right, things line up in a way logic can't control. The other person feels the loss, even if they're smiling around other people. They feel the risk, even if they act like they're safe. Some connections are not easily replaced. When one tries to escape, life keeps placing the same reminders in their path again and again until they can't ignore it. That's why it matters to listen to your body and your emotions. Not for instant results, for peace. Because what's coming isn't a quick impulse. It's a truth that has been growing in quiet for a long time. Don't click away yet. Source. To understand why someone pulls back right when the bond feels strongest, you have to look beneath the surface. Deep inner patterns work like a mirror. A mirror doesn't judge, it reflects. In a connection like this, the other person doesn't only see the love you offer, they also see themselves more clearly than they want to. Their weak spots, their old pain, their fear of not being enough, their fear of being left first. And when those hidden parts get exposed, the ego rushes to protect itself. So the running is not always from you. It can be from what your love forces them to feel about themselves. Your closeness shines a light into corners they kept dark for years. This is why the pattern looks so unstable. One day their longing wins and there is warmth, hope, even softness. Then the next day the fear of being truly seen takes over and they become cold or silent. That switch isn't always a sign of no love. It can be a sign of fear, a quiet war inside them, wanting to surrender to the bond, but panicking about losing control. Stay with me because the next part shows what not to do when this happens. Source. The most common mistake at this stage is trying to force closeness. More messages, more explaining, more proof, more effort. The idea sounds loving, but it often makes the fear bigger on the other side. Because to someone who feels exposed by deep connection, your chasing can feel like pressure, like a spotlight, like a demand to face their inner mess right now. So they pull back even more to feel safe. And here's the twist you may not want to hear. In a strange way, the running can show the bond matters. If it meant nothing, there would be no need for walls. People don't build strong defenses around something worthless. They build them around what can truly hurt them, around what they secretly value. Distance becomes their short-term shelter. Pride becomes a guard dog. Admitting "I need you" feels like surrender, and the ego fights surrender to the end. That's why you see mixed signals, sudden silence, random coldness. It can be a mask to buy time while the deeper self pushes toward truth. But time runs out. Eventually, the emptiness becomes heavier than the fear. And that's when unexpected actions